Okay, today's video is on job security and how to avoid layoffs being caused by the Fed right now. They're, trying to lower inflation by slowing the economy down, and that takes hurting some people's jobs. And Google's been laying off a lot of people, as you've been hearing. This is just a good thing for Google's bottom line. That's going to make the stock go up as they save more money. But anyway, how do you benefit from lost jobs? You don't. So what's the way to replace a lost job or to give you more security? Dividends. So we make about $95,000 in dividends, and that's as good as a paycheck. So $96,000 in dividends paid monthly. Okay, these are all as good as a paycheck, and they happen because these funds are 4- and 5-star rated, so they have a history of paying out their dividends. Go see our wall on these funds. Go see Cornerstone, for example. It's one of our top funds, Cornerstone. CLM, CRF. We have about $400,000 invested in this fund because they pay a reliable, steady dividend. Really quickly, I just want to show you that the market was up off the 10-day moving average, the red line there. 3 days pullback. We made an article. We did a video on that, on how to play a breakout, and now we're riding that 10-day just as we expected, and our gains are up as a result. So this is, again, how you keep a job without actually having a job and you remain free in life is through just collecting these dividends. So we're up 30% for the year. We're beating the NASDAQ by a handful and the S&P by a handful. And this is because these dividends that pay me don't just pay a meager dividend and that's all you get. You get these days gains, which are $3,000 in a day, plus you get those yearly dividends, which is about $95,000 a year. So the big revelation to me that helped me find this strategy out was when I had my child, and I had about $100,000 in my bank account and my E-Trade account, and I thought I could use 20 of it to buy a house, put a down payment on a house. The bank simply wouldn't take that 20 grand. They said I needed a down payment, and I needed qualifying income. I needed a paycheck. So I had to, I almost panicked, and I had to race to find a way to engineer my income to get it up to about $50,000 a year. So what I did was I simply used this margin number here, 700,000, and I turned it up to a couple $100,000 in debt, which I'll show you here. Our debt positions are 200,000, and so you see here 200,000 in red. Well, the 100,000 that we make in dividends, that will pay that back. That'll cut that in half by the end of the year. That 200 will turn to 100. But when I had my child, I simply used this extra purchasing power, which would be 1.6 million, because for every dollar you put into a brokerage account, you get $4. I just never used it because I thought it was taboo. Everyone thought margin was taboo. Yeah, it is when you're speculating on risky stocks, but when you use margin at a 5% interest rate, so we're getting charged 5% for this 200,000. But you have investments that are making 15 or 20%, so you're netting 15. Cornerstone pays a 20% dividend. This pays a 20% dividend. So minus 5% margin interest, you're netting 15%. So it pays you to be in business, to simply own these funds in margin. So I immediately took my debt up from 0 to 200,000 at the time when I had 100,000 in my account. And I got my estimated income up to $50,000. And that's what I needed, he said. He said I needed $50,000 qualifying income for a $300,000 house, not just a 20% down payment, but I needed about 50 grand qualifying income. So I got my qualifying income up immediately. Now he needed to see it for 2 years, so I had to keep these dividends on for 2 years. But it was no problem. Even through the 2022 bear market last year, we had no problems getting paid every month and paying down our margin, just like clockwork. It works like clockwork. And the reason why, again, are these funds are 4- and 5-star. Cornerstone, these are 4-star funds and 5-star funds on Morningstar. Go see our past wall, all of our videos on Cornerstone. they have a reliable history of paying their dividend. That's why they're 4 and 5 star. And that's why it makes it more secure than your own job, because you never know when you can get fired. The company could have their own issues. The Fed could be trying to engineer something by forcing layoffs to lower inflation. So you could sidestep all these worries and just own dividend stocks and get paid your own paycheck through dividends. And if you don't have enough dividends to qualify for anything, then you can use your margin, a safe amount. Don't use the whole amount. If I had used this 700,000 right here times 20% dividend, which is what Cornerstone gives you, 20%, that would be 140,000. So 70,000 times 10% is 70. If 700,000, okay, times 10%, that's 70,000. Now double it to 20%. That's 140, because that's what you get from Cornerstone. 140,000. I'm already making about 100,000 a year, so I could up my income to 240,000 per year. But I would have no more margin purchasing power, which would make this available for withdrawal number drop. And then you would be near a margin call. So you have to play with margin smart. You can't just put it all in. You have to use about half of it or a third of it. And that's what I did. I used about a third of it at the time, and now I'm using less than half. I'm using like a quarter of margin now. And when this equity position, this available for withdrawal, gets up to about 200 grand, I'm going to do another round of margin, another 100 grand of margin, because 100 grand of margin only takes up 30 grand of equity. If you look at our video, a past video on maintenances, excesses, 30 grand is going to be taken up. So we're going to grow our income from 100 grand to 200 grand in no time. In this channel, we're going to take off, and we're going to make more money than anyone ever dreamed. We just have to do it safely and play it a day at a time. You don't put all your margin on at one time. Just like you don't go buy real estate and go over leverage yourself and buy a whole bunch of houses at one time. You let one pay off the other, pay off the other. And this is how you get yourself job security and financial freedom. Thanks.